Well, good morning from St. Louis, Tossing Salad Podcast. We are live today. Basically, we're doing two different things. Number one, I thought it would be fun to show you the creation process of one of the YouTube banners that we basically create for each podcast show. Got a new podcast coming out this Saturday with Emma from Sonny's Garden and or Sonny's Place. I'm sorry, Sonny's Place. But the other thing I want to do is I'm still testing out the audio because we're using a brand new interface, a new microphone, and potentially a new software platform. So we've been using StreamYard for the last few weeks. We've run into a few bugs on their end that they supposedly have engineers looking at, but it's kind of taken a long time. We're currently paying for Riverside. I do like Riverside for the podcast side of things. Works really good. Quality of stuff is really good. I'm not crazy about it for live streaming. On the flip side of things, StreamYard, I do like that for streaming on YouTube or when we get up to multi streaming and casting out to multiple platforms at one time. It's very intuitive, very easy to use. And for me, I actually kind of like it for podcasting as well. So I'm leaning towards StreamYard over Riverside at this moment, but I've got to get these bugs fixed. Now, in addition to showing you guys what we do and how we basically create the YouTube thumbnails, I'm testing out the audio today specifically because the last few times when we go live and we've had a guest on, the guest audio is a little louder and my audio has been a little bit softer. Now, when you're using upgraded products that are a little fancier than just kind of plug and play, and I'm not saying these are not plug and play, but we were basically gifted these Shure MV7 microphones. And to get up to speed on how to use them and how to make them sound really good, with the setup that I'm currently using, I'm currently plugging it into a Zoom U24, like a mini mixer. I think that's what it's called. Some kind of a audio interface that before it goes into the computer. Although the fancy thing and the nice thing about these Shure MV7s is that they have USB capability where you can plug it directly into your computer, your laptop. A lot of advantages in doing it that way. And at some point, I'll have to test it that way. But my setup that I have for now is I'm going through this U24 interface to where you can adjust the gain, how loud you are, balancing the what you're hearing, all kinds of stuff. Again, I'm not an expert in any of this. I basically am able to cobble together how to get things to work. And that's where we are with the podcast. So, anyways, the problem has been my audio has been a touch soft. So, what I'm doing on this one here is we've cranked up the gain on the microphone to basically a 10 on the Zoom U24 interface. And locally, when I test that out in GarageBand, which is a software, an audio recording software that Macs have natively, the audio is boosted quite a bit. The problem though is by cranking up the gain, it's picking up some extra sounds around the house. Sometimes you can hear the dog barking. You can hear my really loud chair that squeaks really bad. You can hear when I take a when I kind of swallow in between sentences or when I'm trying to get this beard hair out of my mouth. That's the problem when you wake up and you don't do the full grooming of the beard with the wax and the oils, getting the beard under control. It gets a little wild throughout the day. So anyways, let's go ahead and pull up our Photoshop screen. And this is, I love StreamYard. It's just so easy to use when it's working. And I'm just hoping that we can finally just start paying for this. So anyways, so here is this week's art, the thumbnail for YouTube for the Tossing Salad podcast with Emma, Sonny's Place. And the basic strategy that I have is to come up with the elements, how I like them, and then just to be able to kind of plop in updated pictures each week. So I'm not recreating the whole process every week. That's my strategy right now. I'm sure there's some other better way to do it. This is what I'm doing, and this is what I'm going to show you. So a few months ago, when we started with YouTube and the YouTube channel, I was like, I need to come up with a somewhat consistent YouTube thumbnail to start making things, tie it all together each time we release a podcast episode. Came up with kind of a look that I wanted, came up with a color scheme, which again, I'm colorblind. It's really hard for me to work with colors. I used an app on my phone to come up with a set of colors. I think it's called Coolors, I think. And it basically, you keep looking through patterns of colors and stuff, sets of colors that go well together. And I just kept refreshing it until I came up with one that I thought, I was like, I like the colors of these. And so what I did was I incorporated those colors into the design of my first thumbnail. And if you remember, that was with Zach DIY Gardener. And so each week since with the podcast, I basically take out the pictures of Zach and myself or whoever else followed, and then I just upload into Photoshop a brand new photo image of myself and then the guest. And then with Photoshop, you're able to select the subject, really nice and easy to do. You clean it up a little bit to your ability. Again, I'm very average when it comes to working within Photoshop. There's a lot of other apps and software that you can use. It doesn't require Photoshop. I think like Canva is a popular one that people use that's easy to use. I just so happen I have Photoshop. I have the Adobe Suite package. So this week, this is the end result that you guys are seeing. So I took a picture that I had on file. One day I did a bunch of different photos in front of the mic, different expressions, and then Emma sent me a couple pictures to use to play around with for the thumbnail. And again, if you follow Emma on her YouTube channel, she does this pretty much for a living. Like her background, I believe, if you listen to the podcast, is like web design something. She knows what she's doing. You look at her channel, you go to her channel, Sonny's_place, and look at the videos that she uploads and the thumbnails that she does. I mean, she gets them perfect. I love them. I absolutely love them. And at some point, I'm going to have to sit down and look through hers to try to break them down to figure out, okay, what is she doing that I can steal? I'm kidding. But I need to take inspiration in how she creates and what she's doing with her thumbnails. And then kind of massage that into my abilities into doing it for my episodes. So basically what you're looking at here is the finished one, and it's very basic. for my skills, my ability. But I like it. I think it's clean enough for me. What I want to do is I want to take out each element, and I'm going to do that by doing this fancy stuff here where I can turn off each layer. Start with a blank canvas, just so I can show you guys building from the bottom on up on how we came up with that. So basically what you're seeing here is blank canvas, right? So with that app that I use for my colors, I decided, okay, I want my background color to be this particular color. I got the 6-digit ingredient, whatever that's called, the hex number or something. I got that so I can specifically dial into this particular color. And so we're going to utilize I think it gave you like 6 colors or 7 colors that all go with together, depending on the vibe that you're wanting to go with. So every color that we are using within the banners are going to be within those colors that they gave me. So this is the background color that we're going to go with. And you can see that I looked up the YouTube thumbnail dimension, so I have the exact dimension so I can build and create so that it looks the best on YouTube. I forget what the dimensions are, but it's looks like, kind of 16 by 9-ish. All right, so the next element, bottom up, is the name of the podcast, Tossing Salad Podcast. Found a font that I kind of like, that's easy to read, that kind of stands out, a little bit bold. I like this so far. And so that is hopefully going to be consistent each week, that you're going to see the Tossing Salad Podcast, the name of the podcast there on the top. The next thing on the way up with layers is with Brian Smatros. So basically, just letting everybody know that I am the host of this show. So every week, you know that it's me and then maybe somebody else that's coming in. And that'll be consistent week to week. The next layer, we went with 2 different colors that were complementary based on that app that I was using. And again, I'm hoping the audio here, I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. The feedback I'm getting in the headphones sounds fine to me. But the only way that I know that the audio is off and is a little light is if there are people watching and say, hey, the audio is soft for you and louder for your guest, or if I go back and watch this afterward. So that's what I'm going to have to do since we have nobody in right now watching. It's fine. So we've got a color band across, and this here is something that will kind of move and change depending on how the design that I want to go with on a weekly basis. I may move this around, make it bigger or smaller, depending on where I want to put the people on the banner. It just so happens this week I wanted this to go, the bars to go all the way across. And again, it's these 2 colors. All 3 work well together. The next layer we're going to do is I wanted to incorporate a little bit of her own logo from her YouTube page, Sonny's Place. I love it. Gives us a little extra color. Now, the colors with her logo and my stuff may or may not kind of go well together, but I kind of like the look of it, and I like trying to rep her as well. A little flavor of hers in our YouTube thumbnail. Again, for those of you that aren't familiar with building on Photoshop or Canva or doing stuff like this, what we're doing is I'm showing you the layers from bottom to the top. So as things get laid on top of each other, you can kind of see, how this is put together. Next one there is basically her Instagram handle. I need to double check that to make sure that's also her YouTube handle. It's easy when you have the same handle. Like for me personally, tossing salad podcast is the exact same thing on YouTube as it is on Instagram, as it is on TikTok. My gardening persona, the garden voyeur, is the same on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Mastodon. It's all the same name. Sometimes you're just not able to do that, right? I'm assuming that is hers across both Instagram and YouTube, but if not, I'll have to find the one that is for YouTube, because primarily we're making these so people can watch the podcast on YouTube. So if I have to choose between different runs, we'll make sure it defaults to the one that is her YouTube handle. So next layer is, now we're kind of incorporating the photos that she sent me. She sent me a couple of them, and I said, hey, just send me something kind of head and shoulders, and you can have fun with it if you want. She's busy all day. She didn't have time to do a photo shoot for me, right? Just shoot me a couple pictures that's just clear enough that I can see your head and full shoulders. So Emma sent me a couple that I can use. I like this one here with the expression. It's just fun. It's a fun photo to use. So to key in off of that, I brought in, and again, remember when I said that I took a whole bunch of photos with me in front of the mic a few weeks ago? I just didn't have time to go shoot a new one today. And plus, I with allergies and stuff, I feel like my eyes are so puffy. I'm just like, some days you just don't feel pretty, right? So I went with some of the photos that I haven't used yet on the podcast. And what I did was I brought this one in.
It's past 11:20.
And you can hear that I'm late for an 11:20 lunch appointment on my Google speakers on the office. So anyways, we're going to have to wrap this up here really quick. So we've got a photo that I brought into Photoshop, cleaned it up just to cut myself out of the background. That's not always perfect. Photoshop's not always able to do that real perfect, so you have to kind of go in there and hand do it sometimes, which is what I had to do here. So you can see there, especially like around the details of the headphones, and you'll see here with the microphone, I had to kind of go in and clean it up a little bit. So let's add in the microphone. There's our microphone there. And the actual picture that I took was me with the microphone, but I brought it in here as two different layers just because I wanted a little more flexibility in how I'm using it within the banner, within the design here. It's very, very similar to how you're seeing it with the mic, but now if I wanted to, I can move that mic around and cover some things up. So we're going to add in Emma's name, the highlight of our thumbnail. And basically, there you have it. That is the creation of our YouTube thumbnail and how I go about doing it. Today it probably took me 30 minutes without the stop in and getting distracted with a few things. If I knew exactly kind of what I wanted to do, and then going in and cleaning up when you're taking the background out of like the area around the microphone and myself, because those are pictures to where you're seeing, like right now, you see in my background, you're seeing the TV with the logo, you're seeing the bookshelf with all the stuff. Photoshop or whatever, Canva, whatever software you're using has to cut all that out. So I had to go in around the headphones and cut that out. So all you see is just the YouTube banner. So there is the creation process of my YouTube thumbnail. And I hope that was somewhat interesting for those of you that are kind of new to doing stuff like this. And I hope my audio is better and louder. And I hope it doesn't pick up too much stuff. Like I'm going to be interested to see when I play this back how much of the Google speaker, the announcement when it came through that I was late, because I was supposed to be upstairs at 11:20 and it's 11:24 now. I'm curious how much of that was heard and caught on the microphone with the gain up to 10. The gain is maxed out. To lift my voice up, I had to turn the gain up to 10. So that'll be my next thing is when I get out of this, we're going to go back to YouTube, listen to the live. Hopefully maybe today I can get somebody else on as well, test out that to see if our levels are going to be the exact same. Once I get that dialed in and fixed, we're getting closer to what I want to do, what I want to have, what I want you to hear, what I want you to see. We got a lot of fun coming up. It's a lot of technical stuff when you're dealing with different platforms, different microphones, new stuff. So, all right, guys, appreciate it. If you haven't yet, if you've checked this out live and you're like, you know what, this guy's not bad. I'm kind of interested in seeing somebody start up a podcast and all of the content that we've been trying to produce for you. I'm going to give him a follow, or I'm going to subscribe to his channel. I appreciate that. We're working on YouTube getting to 100 subscribers. I think we're like 80 right now. But we're also looking to grow TikTok and Instagram, Tossing Salad Podcast. But right now, our focus is building up that YouTube subscriber count. So if you get to this point and you haven't subscribed yet, would you mind doing 15, 20 seconds? It doesn't cost you anything. Hit the subscribe button. All right, guys, take it easy. And we are done.